has gone from we have to prevent them from developing nuclear weapons to we have to go get the nukes. And when you're talking to like the layperson or just the person who gets up in the morning, they have to pick up their kids and they're just going about their day. The messaging, it's just so confusing. What is someone to believe?
To your point, and the messaging, is this not reflective of what the president is saying? And that's what people are responding to?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes. So I'm so glad Scott's back. But Scott mentioned shock and awe, which was Iraq, right? There was this idea, and I like the word you used earlier. I forgot when people come together. I don't remember what it was, but there was this drumbeat that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. He had used them on his neighbors, which he did, but he was ready to use them again. Saddam was developing nuclear weapons. We were on the precipice of Saddam using, chemical weapons, biological weapons, not nuclear weapons. That turned out to be something he was saying just to keep Iran off his back. So again, there are people, it's the collective memory, right? So we do as a collective group, countries, groups, zip codes, we have a collective memory. And I know this because I was reading articles, I was watching commentators, and so many people were saying, "Here we go again." That was the phrase. Here we go again. Iran has nukes. Here we go again. And look at where we are. So now there's this memorandum of understanding that's going to be developed. It sounds like we're going to be using Iran's own money to go back in and develop infrastructure. So what I hear is that American companies are going to go into Iran, help rebuild, make a lot of profit, make a lot of revenue, but back here, Americans are selling plasma to buy dinner. And ultimately, the tipping point is not whether this is all my opinion, but I think I share, a lot of people share this opinion. The tipping point is not whether or not we got close but we didn't do it. The tipping point is if the American economy and the American citizen is a camel, how much weight can you put on the average American's back before his or her legs buckle and they go down to the ground? What are we doing this for? And, my grandfather was in the Army. My dad was in the Army. My nephew is down at Gitmo right now in the Army.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. And when people say we need to put boots on the ground, I'm of the opinion, and I'm of the opinion, if you truly believe this, and someone in your family is of fighting age, or you're of fighting age, if you feel this way, are you willing to pick up a rifle? Are you willing to drive your son or daughter down to the recruiting station and put a rifle in their hand?
In your family.
It's very easy to say we need to put people in harm's way when these people are numbers to you or faces on a screen. And I just think people should just think about this a little bit more, because we know from studies that the majority of our military comes from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. And the reason many of them join the military is because of the benefits. You get the GI program, they'll pay for your college tuition, all these other things. These people, they might be just names and statistics to many of us, to some of us. But to many of us like me, These are people that have names. These are people that, hey, I don't want to see. I'm just being candid. I don't want to see my nephew jump in to some foreign place and get his head blown off if our leadership can't tell us why this is happening and tell us what this is really for. It has been confusing from day one what the messaging is. And now again, it seems like the messaging is we had to go get the nukes. Well, what nukes? And
Well, wait a minute. Let's stop right there. Because I was going to wait till you're finished, but now, since you say that again, I want some clarification from you.
Okay.
Are you suggesting that the facts on the ground in Iraq and the facts on the ground in Iran vis-a-vis nuclear capabilities are analogous?
No, not at all.
Okay, I want you to make that clear if you don't mind, because
Yes.
I understand the collective memory argument, but I just want to be sure that we understand Daryl's position with regard to that. There were no, what do they call it, yellow cake?
Yes, uranium.
Precursors in Iraq, but there are enriched plutonium stockpiles in Iran. That is a fact, right?
Yes. But being very specific, using your wording, right? There's a difference between saying Iran is enriching uranium to saying Iran has a nuclear weapon. At least
I
in
haven't
my
heard
brain.
anybody, at least not on this stage, say that, and I haven't heard anybody in politics, including people who I think are warmongers and who I find, frankly, some of their comments nauseating, ever say that. I've never heard anybody say that.
So then if I can have some latitude and just engage with you. If someone says we have to go get the nukes, what does that mean to you?
I think when people are saying that, it's a shortcut to go getting the enriched uranium and destroying their abilities to create nuclear weapons.
Okay, that's so you're an educated guy. If you said to
you asked me what I
yes,
and that's how I see it, and I think that's how people I know see it. I know people who are not educated who see it that way. I don't think anybody is under the misconception that they have a nuclear bomb that's pointed at New York City right now, and that if we're not careful, they're going to set it off and, it's going to land on the damn parade tomorrow. Nobody is saying that.
Well, the reason I would disagree with you, Gary, is because 2 months ago, when there was that alert that Iran had drones and they were sending drones to Florida, people were believing it. Iran's 8,000 miles away.
The drone alert had to do with Cuba. It had nothing to do with Iran. And it is possible right now for Iran or almost any other country, I presume, who has the connections, they don't need the scientists to put together what they call, I don't like the terminology, but it's what it's called, a suitcase bomb, and place it in Times Square. They can do that right now.
Yeah, but we're talking about two different things. I'm trying to make is when you say that people don't hear words and assume something, I use the drone things just as an example of people hearing there are drones headed to Florida from 8,000 miles away.
It's just amazing to me, really, how people have so little regard for the ability of our fellow Americans to comprehend what's going on. They may not agree with this attack on Iran. By the way, I think the body politic a year ago, almost now, after that tremendous attack on 3 nuclear facilities was, hooray, rah, rah.
Yes.
I didn't hear anybody say, why did we send them there to do that? I didn't hear that out of the mouth of anybody. Now, there may be people who felt that, but I'm in the news media, I'm interviewing people, I'm putting stories on the air, I'm looking for multiple points of view. Every story that I put on the air, sometimes I have to stretch my abilities to find somebody who comments in the opposite position from whatever is being presented. That's part of what I do for a living. I never heard anybody argue otherwise. So I think, you talked about being dismissive. You may be a little dismissive of the American people's ability to comprehend what is being communicated here. Even people who disagree with this engagement, I think they understand what it's all about.
When I said dismissive, it was about the comment about that Americans are concerned about the price of gas. And I said Americans are also...
And that may be dismissive, but it's not untrue. It is true that they're concerned about things other than just the price of gas. But we are a headline society. Ever since Twitter came out with their original 90-character blogs, when even people who watch cable television, most of them, they have the sound down. They're looking at what we call in the business the lower thirds. Whatever they put on the lower bottom, a synopsis of what's being discussed by this panel of experts is what people go home with. But that doesn't mean that people don't have an understanding of the basic concept of the positions. They don't know the nuances. Many people don't. It's mind-boggling even to those of us who are in the business of trying to figure out the nuances. We discuss this every night in the newsroom, how difficult it is to suss things out because it's so complicated. But that being said, I don't think anybody believes that Iran has a nuclear weapon ready to launch against Tel Aviv. I think the people believe, whether they're in favor of it or against it, that part of this mission was to eliminate their possibility of getting nuclear weapons. I want to remind you that long before Donald Trump was even candidate Donald Trump, years and years ago when he was a young, good-looking lad, he went on numerous national television programs, including, I believe, an interview with Barbara Walters, where the Don, this real estate mogul, this multi-millionaire who is known as being the new Joe Namath of New York City, Broadway Joe, running around with a hot woman on his arm who may or may not be his wife at that time, and who was kind of like this interesting media celebrity who nobody took seriously when it came to politics, was going on national television saying, if I was president, I would make sure that Iran not obtain nuclear weapons. This is his theme, his entire life when it comes to politics.
Well, but he also, when Barack was running, he also said that Barack is going to attack Iran, and he doesn't think Barack should attack Iran. This is a guy who will say anything in the moment.
I understand that, but this is something he has been consistent. We know that he is if there's anything consistent about Trump, is that he's inconsistent. We know that. But the one thing he has been consistent about, aside from his DeVito issues, which he's been very consistent about, is Iran's nuclear capabilities. This nonsense, by the way, you didn't bring it up, that he's being controlled like a marionette by Bibi Netanyahu. This is something that he was saying long before he ever had any discussions with Bibi Netanyahu. He's been absolutely opposed, rightly or wrongly, and I think in this case rightly, to Iran getting nuclear weapons. There's nothing new about that.
Yeah, that's okay. So, but now it feels like something I'm saying is being conflated into something else. All I'm simply saying is, when we first go in, it's to prevent a nuke. Then it becomes within a few days. And again, the heart of what I'm trying to talk about is why seminal moment. That's the phrase you use. I thank you. I couldn't think of it. The reason I think we can't come to this seminal moment is because we can't have a cohesive message as to
we all agree with that. I said it, Scott said it, Howard
that's why I said you said it. Yes,
Hanson said it. Everybody agrees with that.
Yes. The reason we can't have the seminal moment is because we can't get clear messaging. There is absolutely
100% agreement. We all agree about that, Daryl.
There's absolutely this theory out here that the only way to get what we wanted to get was to literally just collapse the country, to have a country that now looks like Libya, or a country that kind of looks like Syria. But now it's okay, we can't have any of all of these things, so let's just bring in big business. Let's just spend some money and we'll get it all fixed.
Body cam video
and again,
and other materials from the
I say
fatal
this all the
shooting of
time.
Chicago police officer
my
Bella
background.
French. Shooting happened in August
I'm this
2020.
private equity guy. I'm all for this, but I'm saying, as a society, it's not sustainable.
Right. So let me codify your position and tell me if I got it right. Your position is this: that the real reason we went in there is to create business opportunities for Trump and or his cronies, and not really for the purposes stated, which kept getting changed.
Somewhere, I'm somewhere along that path, Gary. But what I go back to, and I'll end it with here. We have to figure out a way to balance this out, because I'm going back. I'm just going to say again, Americans are selling blood to buy dinner.
Right.
And this is
not
Americans
sustainable. Have always sold blood to buy dinner, but you're right. The economy is in terrible shape. If you're going to judge by Wall Street, you have to also take a look at Main Street. We all know, those of us who don't have one penny, other than maybe our 401s, but we don't have a penny that we are managing ourselves, that we are sitting there saying, buy, sell, buy, sell. Those of us who don't have a penny in the stock market in that regard are aware of what we pay at the pump, are aware of what we pay at the grocery store, are aware of a decision that, maybe I'll do a staycation, are aware of a decision that maybe I'll drive and not fly, maybe I'll camp and not go to a hotel, etc., etc., etc. Maybe I won't go to the restaurant. I know restaurant owners who are really hurting. Not all of them, but it's a very, very competitive field now in general. And by the way, the fast food companies are doing very well. Thank you very much, most of them. And the reason is, people would rather eat unhealthy for $1 than eat healthy for $20.
Yes. I'm saying, and what I'm talking about is like a 10, 15-year trajectory. It's just not sustainable. And I'll wrap with that.
But remember, the people who are interested in making money, the big time, to quote Mr. Sanders, Senator Sanders, the oligarchs, they don't care about that.
I know.
They don't care about that. Thank you, Daryl. Les, I'll get you in a second. Alan is now with us. Alan, followed by Len.
Good afternoon, guys. Apologize, I got to start doing some paperwork and.
Hey, if you're doing business, I'm all for it. The little business guy, I'm for. I don't want people to be making money off of my sweat, but you are making money off of your sweat, and we're all for that. We're all with you, Alan. We're all with you.
You want me to make you happy? I had one sale at 9:13 for $13. Second sale was a 5 minutes ago, 12:30. So no, it wasn't.
I know in Texas you can't afford to turn off the air conditioning, but why don't you just turn the lights off and sit there in the dark? That might be helpful.
Well,
and you can turn then you don't have to run as much air conditioning.
Well, in this program you can show the camera. I could show you half of the light at the shop is down.
Hey, this
I'm
is
sitting by the TV, the sound, and I'm watching the soccer anyway. But this is all bad.
Hey, last night, by the way, 1 o'clock in the morning, my buddies and I, we walk over to Carvel for a little break because it's past midnight, so that makes Tuesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday and Sunday at Carvel, so you get 2 for 1. So every Tuesday at work, which is now Wednesday, becomes Sunday, and we get our Carvel. A group of people walk in wearing Algerian jerseys, and they got the Algerian flag wrapped around their shoulders and everything, and they walk in and I go, oh, Messi fans, huh?
Messi chilled at the game last night.
Oh my God, my friends thought I was going to get my ass kicked. I thought it was fun.
Did you guys know the Iranian player after the goal, he made his hand like a shotgun and was shooting the ground? They dismissed his visa. He cannot come back to U.S.
Oh, for God's sake. Listen, you and
Iran
I are in accord that we hate this regime in Iran. You've been with me for over 20 years now, more than 25 years, 26 years now. Alan has been with me on this program on a different, obviously, platform because Clubhouse wasn't around, but then we moved to Clubhouse. And so we've been in accord when it comes to Iran. This regime is bad. But when it comes to the sports, let them come and play. You know?
No, I don't have no problem if they come and play.
Why are we harassing that team? Why are we telling them that they have to stay in Tijuana? You know what? They probably got a better deal going back to Tijuana because they're right next to a whorehouse.
Well, you saw my posting, right? They are next to the whorehouse, and they're not going to get that privilege in Iran for probably all them life. This is a lifetime opportunity for them.
That's right.
But that's not the case. The thing is, Iranian doesn't like this team is because this team it's nothing other than a child of revolutionary.
But it doesn't matter. If you feel that way,
that's what they are.
Beat them on the pitch, but don't.
Well, that's what they do. You saw. I don't know if you saw or not.
Right.
They
I mean, I don't think the United States government should be harassing them. That's what I'm saying.
No, I know.
With the same respect, they are our visitors, and they should be treated with the same
Iranian,
respect.
they doing the greatest job to boo them in the field.
Right. That's different. That's individuals.
And that's it.
But I'm just saying,
United States should sit back.
We are a host country, and we should be treating every country that's invited, including a referee who says despicable things in his private life, or a coach who says despicable things in his private life.
100% agree.
They're not coming here to set off bombs, for God's sakes. Let them come and let them enjoy.
But
anyways, get back to the topic. How dare you take me off the topic?
Because I like to. Sometimes I have to push your button. I love the way you get excited and then hit the nail harder on the coffin. But the whole thing is, it's every day since this deal went in, I believe in, the thing I read yesterday. President Trump told the Iranian help is on the way, but we didn't understand that. What he meant is he was talking to the regime and with Iranian on the street, and Iranian stupid like me, I thought, okay, time is to do it. But the thing is, I still don't understand is, and it doesn't, I just don't understand, but majority of the people, they have a knowledge, they think the war, it was just as bad as war with Iraq. I wasn't agree with Iraq. The war with Iraq was, as the Daryl says, they said bomb, he's got a nuclear bomb, he's got bomb, but the thing was, he was a grudges George Bush's son took because of his father. And then he went in, and he did, and most Iranian, they were disagree with it, we didn't want this war started because Saddam Hussein was counterattack on this regime from get-go. And we know what he did. As soon as
We made a
He
promise
had the guy from the
to
Council
working
on Foreign
families of our
Relations.
oh
city.
yeah, I remember
And,
it. Yeah.
and he mocked me when I suggested that we mistake going after Saddam Hussein. You don't know. I've been an expert in this field. Blah 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 blah.
He
blah.
was an expert. He was just his
Mouthpiece.
knowledge
He's a
about the whole
mouthpiece.
thing.
Fair enough.
He's
Shows
a
like
mouthpiece,
one of those
yeah.
experts because their fucking pops arrogant assholes.
Exactly. You said it. But that's how it was. But this time, no element was there. But when I wasn't sure when Mr. Trump says ceasefire in January 17 and 18, and that screwed up everything. And I'm sure, Gerald says, Marshall says many times, we need to look at our benefit. We need to look at, our security, and that's the bottom line is. And there is nothing in it, and I'm afraid we have an enemy within, and hopefully we come safe. I don't have no choice. I don't have no alternative except ask God every single day to keep us safe and keep us life, I guess. Back to you.
Thank you, Alan. We'll go to Les, followed by the other Alan.
Well, first of all, in terms of it being ridiculous not to not to go to war because they don't have uranium stock, they don't have bomb right this second or 5 minutes from now. That's dumb because we tried that with North Korea and they just played us for time. And that now it's too late. And Iran's, already been very aggressive to its neighbors. You name a country in the region, and it's likely that they're being, in danger because of that. And so I disagree, yes, that we didn't have a reason to go in there. The power of atomic weapons and its power to kind of blackmail people is just horrific. You've got the power of the sun at your disposal. So that's we know that they have had nuclear stockpiles. We knew they were doing it because they wanted to have a bomb. And they still have, a city full of centrifuges to purify the uranium. And those are things we have to get rid of. In terms of using, certainly we would need troops on the ground to secure the strait and to affect this. And I certainly understand that that's asking a lot. People, ground wars in Asia are horrific. One more thing I was thinking of, darn it. Let me think for a second. In terms of economic, basically starving it to death, that worked for in World War I. That's what we did to Germany, and they folded. And then, you can't just say, you can say that the top people are, they're going to hang on to the last moment. But to keep a society, a nasty society like that going, nasty government, you need to have collaborators. You need to have soldiers and people that keep the other people under control, and that takes money. And if they are starving and they know there's an alternative, uh, sanctions are starvation, etc., is a way of getting people uh, to fold. When I say starvation, I don't think we should be, trying to hurt civilians. I think we should be trying to keep them from basically paying their collaborators. Thank you.
Thank you, Les. I have breaking news, and I don't know exactly what this means beyond what I'm going to tell you. Breaking news, Trump officially signs the Iran agreement. I don't know where he was when he signed it. Was he in France before he got onto Air Force One?
It was digital, Gary.
No, the digital signing was earlier.
Well, I just got a notification of digital signing.
So there's been a second digital signing?
I think you're getting a report of the same thing.
I mean, it's very confusing. But anyway, I thought there was a digital signing over the weekend.
No, I just got a notification of digital signing just now, right around the time that you announced it, maybe like half an hour before.
And now he signed it again. And I don't know whether that means Vance goes to Switzerland on Friday or not. Who knows what the hell's going on? This is what I was saying earlier, have a little faith, not faith, but a little understanding of what people in these newsrooms are going through. I'm telling you, honest to God, literally, even on the overnight shift, I could put a story in brand new in my hourly rundown and change it before the anchor gets to it to read it because something has happened on the ground or something the president said that changes what we just put into the show. It's mind-boggling what's going on right now with regard to the news. We don't even know what we're reporting. I mean, we're reporting the facts, but we can't even take the time to put it into context. It's very, very difficult.
Well, Gary, to be honest with you, to achieve what they want to do is to keep me and you and everybody else on the stage of confusion.
Isn't there a song about that? Thank you, Alan. Thanks for your interjection there, Norm. Thank you, Les, for your input. We'll now go to the other Alan, followed by the aforementioned Norm.
So, Gary, I hate to add more complexity to this, but...
I already got a headache, Alan. I already got a headache. Be gentle.
The other day, after I was on, one of your people on stage made a big deal about getting rid of all of the nukes. And I was quite frustrated because that's a terrible oversimplification. And I kind of align myself with what Daryl was saying, but I would like to add a caveat, which is, as I understand the JCPOA, it allowed Iran to have nuclear material for medical purposes, for potentially nuclear power. I think that when we say all nukes are bad, them having all nukes are bad, we are putting them into the prior story. It's like saying all sugar is bad. No, refined white sugar may be bad for us, but a human can't survive without natural forms of sugar. So it is incredibly stupid to oversimplify the issue of nukes. And so I wish that in your media situation specifically, when you talk about the nukes, we should go back to this part in the JCPOA that allowed them to have it for modern purposes such as power and medicine. Thank you.
And to the question of what do people think when they say they don't have the right to have nukes, I think anybody suggests that they shouldn't have it for power or medicinal reasons.
Oh, I disagree with you, because I think the guy who was on after me the other day used the word nukes and did not define it that way. And so I think that for a lot of these people, the JCPOA.
So from now on, are you suggesting that when somebody says Iran shouldn't have nukes, I have to ask each caller what they mean by that specifically? I think everybody recognizes what people mean by that.
Right, I'm not so sure. Maybe you should. You don't have to always do that, but maybe you should say, what about for nuclear power or for medicine? Because I think a lot of these people don't think about that.
I don't think they don't think about it, because that's not what they're thinking about when they say that they ought not to have nukes. But they're not suggesting that that people who have cancer ought not to get radiation treatment in Iran.
I'm not sure that I agree with you. I could be wrong. You know that General
But have you ever heard somebody say that?
I have heard people refer to nukes the way that people refer to sugar. People think all sugar is bad. All sugar is not bad. Sugar is part of the human condition. It may well be that that's not the perfect analogy, but I would submit that I don't want to use the name of any specific person, and I don't want to insult any of your stage members. But I don't think most people understand that some amount of nuclear material needs to be allowed for medical and for power purposes. They say if Iran has one iota of whatever it is in nuclear materials, it is wrong, and I think that's unfortunate.
May I say something, Gary?
The admonishment I gave Daryl stands then, Alan, with all respect to you as well, and that you're selling the people short when you think that they don't understand the baseline of what's being discussed when people say, when the president says that Iran should not be allowed to have nukes, he's not saying they should not be allowed to have radiation therapy, which they already have. Everybody knows what he means, and we don't have to break it down into that kind of nuance. I mean, there has to be a baseline of discussion, and I think most people understand that baseline of discussion. I'm really a little bit amazed that you and Daryl even bring it up. Either that, or I'm totally oblivious to the fact that a good portion of the population has no idea what we're talking about. Alan, what were you going to say?
I understand Alan and Daryl, they both mean well, but I'm afraid the knowledge about capability of this regime is almost zero. The government goes to the hospital and shoot the doctor because they were treating these demonstrators. They're not going to sit down and emphasize on the nuclear power facility to help cancer people and the medical and so forth and so on. Since Obama signed that treaty with Iran, Iran had plenty of time to build a nuclear facility to help the electricity. Tehran, the capital city, in last 2 years, they have 3 hours electricity in a day. Come on, guys. When they said nuclear power, that means nuclear bomb.
Prior to the JCPOA being ripped up, do you think that they had built any nuclear bombs?
Yes, they built it not times after they signed that treaty.
So you're maintaining that they violated the treaty.
Exactly, sir.
And let me add this point. That they did that in spite of the fact that we had international monitoring. So you don't trust the international monitoring as well.
I don't, because they gave it 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks they gave it to this nasty government. They gave it 2 weeks notice before they go and inspect. What are you talking about?
They didn't have monitors in fact, Alan. That's the problem.
So you think that we're better off to have ripped up the JCPOA, which was a starting point, than where we are today? Is that fair? Or
Yes,
is that
it
not
is
fair?
fair. It is fair because 120,000 people so far got killed by this regime. You think this regime has a mercy on you? I doubt.
No, I don't think that the regime has mercy on me, but I also think that the JCPOA was a starting point. It wasn't a.
It never was. It was meant for me and you to think it's the starting point, but for Iran was another win because they built three nuclear facility under the ground, and Natanz is the most advanced one.
Well, as Gary said, the bombs destroyed those. So that happened before we theoretically went into this stupid war. There is no perfect solution, and I appreciate dialoguing with you. But, you know, Iran is not going to give up everything without, I mean, I think the JCPOA, I have yet to be convinced that it was this horrible deal and worthy of being ripped up. And so I think the point I'm trying to get to is, you can't talk about what happened after the JCPOA was ripped up. You can't say they had nuclear weapons after the JCPOA was ripped up because we didn't abide by it. We don't know where that
we ripped it up. That was why we ripped it up, Alan.
Okay, so we can have a discussion about the
JCPOA. And there are going to be people who think that it was a great starting point, and other people who think that it was because of the sunset clause on it, it was worthless. But I think the point that Alan, the moderator, is saying to Alan, the caller, is that anytime there's any agreement with Iran or its proxy for any kind of stand down, it is used by Iran and its proxies to rebuild and reconstitute whatever military or terroristic assets that they have. And so I think you can argue, even if one were to agree with Alan, the caller's point, that the JCPOA, as the president at the time, Obama said, or as he says in retrospect, we got to where we got without entering a war, and now we're back to having to enter a war to get back to where we got with the JCPOA. There may be some validity to that argument, but the fact still remains that Iran cannot be trusted to abide by any agreement that is reached. And there is intel today that suggests that even if they say, sure, come in and take the nuclear dust, which they haven't even gotten to that point, there are other facilities in that vast mountainous range that have yet to be detected that are already in operation enriching uranium. That is the issue, I think, that Alan, the moderator, is trying to allude to. So, Alan, the caller, hold on a second. Alan, the moderator, tell me if that's a concise recitation of the position you're trying to make.
Exactly. You said it a lot better than I do because your ability to speak is 100% more than me. But I go with Alan, our spokesman did a minute ago. I understand his point, but we are not dealing with the legitimate government. We're not dealing with the government. There is a shredded truth to them. They are bound to get us any way they want. That's in them book.
Yes,
And
but go ahead. I'm sorry. I think I was cut off.
no, it's okay. Back to you, sir.
I was going to say, if you believe that, and I believe that too. I shouldn't say if you believe that. I said let's assume what you said is true. It seems like the current agreement, the proposed agreement, is even worse because we spent all of this money back in 2014 or 2012, whenever we did the JCPOA, we spent all of these millions and millions and billions of suitcases of dollars, and now we're going to spend them all over again and give them even more resources. So even if I accept your point, which I do, how are we better off with this current agreement than we were with the JCPOA?
I never said we are better off. We are 10 times worse, sir. Did you,
Okay,
hear,
did
you hear what I said? When President Trump says to Iranian help is on the way, he meant help to the regime. But
yes.
we as an Iranian, I as an Iranian born, an American citizen, didn't understand. 80 million Iranian, they did not understand. He meant he was talking to regime. They thought they talking to them. 120,000 people dead. It is not the number they can forget. They're not giving up. That's the main thing, is they are not giving up. They're saying it every day. They say we go in the street, we die, but we will not.
I heard you say that, but I still maintain that if the JCPOA was not perfect, nobody is arguing that. But there is a tendency for people who are Trump lovers to draw in very straight black and white lines, and unfortunately this is a complex situation, and I appreciate you acknowledging that we're worse off with the agreement now than we were before the JCPOA, so thank you.
Thank you both, and to Alan, the moderator, if you think my English is good, wait till you hear my Farsi. Just kidding. El Normo, followed by Brian.
That's my Farsi. Alan will understand. So, right, Alan, the moderator?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. All right. Boom.
You know how much I admire you. I don't need to tell.
Well, it's mutual. It's mutual and more so. And thank you. So, it's just puzzling to me that people will not read and they won't listen to Iranians. Somehow they think they know better. With their superficial Twitter-size take on a situation like this, geopolitical situation. The problem with the JCPOA is that the restrictions are phased out, and therefore was regarded by the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps as a path to nuclear weapons. A path to nuclear weapons. It would have sunset by now, of course, last October, I believe, 2025, and so we would have been in my view, infinitely worse situation had we not torn it up in 2018 after we discovered the secret nuclear weapons program of Iran. The plans, the scientists, the nuclear sites, and worst of all, the enriched nuclear material,
Right,
which
right.
they had not.
Right, and by the way, if you don't mind me interjecting,
No.
you'll recall that after the JCPOA was put into effect, there were a number of Iranian nuclear scientists that mysteriously died, and a number of mysterious accidents that occurred in their nuclear weapons program that they shouldn't have been producing anyway under the JCPOA. So
In the first place.
In the first place. So there is the proof in the pudding that while it was well intentioned, and I'm not saying it was a good idea to tear it up, but I'm saying that while it was well intentioned, it was not a panacea by any stretch of the imagination.
Not least of all because they violated it.
Because which is something that Alan would have told us all, not you and me, I'm just saying told us all, and did, that it would be violated. He knew that they would not abide by it, and he was right.
He was right. And we should listen. I'm just going, hitting some high points here. I think it is an emotional and nonsensical appeal to somehow compare or to contrast selling one's blood for dinner with defense money that was requisitioned a few years ago to buy the munitions that we've expended in this war, which of course we will have to replenish with newer, more modern, and even more effective military technology. So that was just a very manipulative, in my view, unfair, inaccurate, nonsensical, emotional appeal that has nothing to do with this war. Um, let's go. There was a statement that we don't know why we're there. I'm not. I think the problem with the messaging wasn't with the messenger. It was on the receiving end. With all due respect, why? Because anybody watching the situation knows very well that there were four huge reasons. And again, President mentioned it, Secretary of State mentioned it, Secretary of War mentioned it, and I mentioned it here. Four big reasons for going into Iran. Number one, the nukes. Number two, their ballistic missiles. Number three, their terror proxies. And number four, their horrific slaughter of their own people. And it is baffling to me that people cannot seem to muster any enthusiasm for the beautiful and cultured and Western-leaning and educated and enlightened Iranian people to be free. For some reason, they just don't count. I don't get it. On the subject of civilian nuclear use or nuclear material that was just mentioned, forgive me, patently false. Because they were, nobody cares if they enrich to 6%, which is what you need for civilian use. The problem is when they enrich to 60%, which keeps them, which has no civilian use and puts them within arm's reach of a nuclear weapon, which they were continuing to develop, and which they could put on a ballistic missile and deliver to Europe for now, and soon enough to the United States, certainly and everything in between, by the way, making them into a little North Korea. And many of us will remember when our President Barack Obama left office, he said the number one problem was North Korea. And the reason why is because of its nuclear ability. Well, this country, I mean, we've compared them to Nazis, the Islamic Revolutionary Genocide Corps, not the good people of the country. They're even worse in some ways than North Korea, certainly, because they are expansionist and imperialist, and they want to kill everybody that doesn't worship like that. I don't think the North Koreans want to kill people that don't worship Kim Jong-il. So I've mentioned that they had secret nuclear sites before we tore up the agreement, and this is confirmed by the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and the IRGC did not let them in to inspect them. There was a mention that people don't want their good family to go into war. I understand that. Many of our parents, grandparents, siblings served this country nobly. Some didn't come back. My dad did. I have his flag right here on my coffee table in a triangular box. You may have put the glass pane. You may have seen those. This was in Incheon in Korea. Some people might have said don't go into Korea. Probably they did. Some people said don't go into World War II. I'm sure they did. Some people said don't go into World War I. I'm sure they did. Unfortunately, all of those people were in the wrong because the United States is willing and able to defend the rule of law, a laws-based society, which includes freedom of trade and freedom of the seaways and freedom of information, by the way. You may have noticed that Iran threatened to cut the internet cables that went under the Strait of Hormuz, like they have a right to do that. That has to do with freedom of information. You'll notice that they cut off the internet in their country after they slaughtered what Alan just estimated, and I believe it was 80,000 of their own citizens. So if you still believe in freedom, then it would be puzzling to me why you would disagree with our use of military might to defend the freedom that we hold dear. understand almost everything. The last and maybe most important thing. What's different now is that we have shown them that we are willing to enforce our American will to freedom militarily. I'll say it again. We have exposed Iran as a paper tiger, and we have shown them that we are willing to hit them and hit them hard if they don't abide by their agreements. That's different than before. We did not have that military will before.
I don't know, Norm.
Never
Could
mind.
you could build a case the opposite's true.
Yeah.
If they view the U.S. now as a paper tiger, and they have the upper hand and leverage moving forward based on the MOU.
Well, you'd have to take a look at the damage that we did to them to determine whether you think that's a paper tiger.
Well, what damage when we're going to be reimbursing them $300 billion?
Hang on 1 second. You
can't have it both ways, Norm.
I think I would say that you can't have it both ways, Howard. We have shown them the extent of damage that we are willing to inflict on them, and we have shown them that as pirates, they are not going to hold the world hostage and somehow enjoy freedom of movement. So we are willing to suffocate them and blockade them, and we are willing to smash them militarily. They cannot sustain that. We can. That's the difference.
Yeah, but we elected to not sustain it, and we're giving them new life. I don't know if we're giving them new life. We're resuscitating the regime. Wait, Norm, let me talk. We're resuscitating the regime. We're going to release, $300 billion in reinvestment. And what did we get out of it? The straits can be open. I want to remind you, the strait was open before all this nonsense happened.
No, irrelevant. The fact that they're
irrelevant. That's the whole purpose. What do you mean irrelevant?
Completely irrelevant.
It's not. No. I totally disagree, Norm.
I
Norm,
understand.
Who you crapping?
I'm not crapping anybody. So again, the goal of the war was to degrade them militarily. That will not be reversed. To destroy their nuclear capability. That will not be reversed. Destroy their missile hardware creation factories and facilities. That's not going the other way. To cut them off from their proxies like Hezbollah. That will not be reversed.
How are they cutting them off from their proxies?
By destroying them economically, by blockading them.
But the article that started all this in the Jerusalem Post says that the blockade was effectively destroying them economically and should not be lifted, and that this is a mistake because they won't be able to recover economically. So if they recover economically and at least $300 billion is pumped into their economy, I don't know where it's supposedly coming from. The president says it's not coming from us. The president says it's not coming from the Gulf states, but it's there in the agreement, and that's just one segment of the agreement. Another aspect of the agreement is the release of their funds that have been held by us. So what do you mean they won't have the economic wherewithal to fund Hezbollah and Hamas in the future?
Well, I don't know how far in the future you want to go, but they have estimated economically, and there isn't any disagreement about that. They're suffocating, and I think the president went into this agreement for two reasons. Number one, because to avoid a vacuum created by no government in Iran, knowing that apparently, again, this is not my call, that the Iranian people were not yet ready or able to take charge, and they wanted to avoid civil war. That would be one. And number two would be to get the stock market, to get the price of oil back down, to get inflation back down going into November, which I think all of us were upset about the effect of the blockade and the closing of the Strait of Hormuz by Iran. So I don't understand why people would be upset with this. Those people who wanted peace are getting it. Those people who wanted inflation to go down are getting it. Those people that wanted to smash the daylights out of Iran have gotten that. The only thing we did not get is regime change, and apparently that's a little bit tricky. Now, I respect Captain Anson on his view, but this wasn't only a military operation, it was also diplomatic.
Norm, you've argued on this stage before. Regime change happened in the beginning. Now you're
Yes.
saying there wasn't regime change? I'm confused.
Well, when I say the regime, I mean, I don't know if you want to dispute what I said or you want to agree with me.
No, I'm confused. Please clarify.
Well,
Was there regime change or was there not regime change?
You have demonstrated your confusion. Do you want to agree or disagree? Which one would
No, he's asking you to clarify, Norm. Come on.
Yes. Okay. So obviously it was a theocracy before, led by a particularly destructive regime leader named Khamenei. He's gone. That's a regime change. This guy.
No, it's not a regime change. The individual is gone, but the regime remains. Come on. You know that, and I know that.
Well,
You can't look in the mirror. You can't look in the mirror and believe. You can't look in the mirror and believe the guy who's saying that. I don't believe that you believe what you're saying, Norm.
Do you think the new government has been fragmented and they're in a power struggle right now? What existed before no longer existed. We've decapitated about 3 levels down.
Time will tell whether that is an accurate assessment. But
that's what we've been telling ourselves.
the wacko Khamenei son is now ostensibly in charge if he's alive. We don't even know, so we can't say to definite. This is not what a regime change is. A regime change would be it no longer being the Islamic Republic of Iran, but the Democratic Republic of Iran. That would be a regime change.
That would be desirable, certainly.
Okay.
But we're not there yet.
Well,
but
no,
I
agree with you there. I agree with you there, but to say that it's a regime change is really a stretch. This is Madison Avenue-esque. This is not reality. Come on, Norm.
Well, we can split the hairs if you like.
It's not splitting the hairs. It's calling things as they are.
Apparently, previously, Khamenei was in charge. This new guy apparently is not in charge. The IRGC is taking charge.
Apparently, and the IRGC is a regime change?
Yes, because
Led by a particularly destructive.
The regime is usually identified with its leader.
I'd like for you to find any experts on what's going on in Iran and send me their thoughts that there's actually been a regime change. I'm sorry, but I know you well enough to know that you're just blah 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 here, and you don't even believe what you're saying.
Well, no, you don't get to speak for me in terms of what I believe. What I will say is that it's a semantic matter, and you can have it either way.
It's not a semantic matter. It's a question of what's going on the ground.
I thought it's a definition of what a regime is.
No, come on. Don't make this an issue of Webster versus the Encyclopedia Britannica. This is a reality. There is no regime change.
Okay.
There's been no substantive change. Alan, has there been any substantive change in the regime? Alan's busy with a customer. God bless him. Moving on to Brian. Thank you, Norm. Brian, that was very interesting.
Yeah,
Brian,
hey Gary, one thing I will quickly agree with Norm, as he said in the beginning, people don't read the details, period. And I'll leave it there.
You're right. Brian, followed by Dave.
Hey, a lot of the things I was going to say have already been spoken, so I'll shift gears a little bit and talk from a little bit more of a strategic level. But first, I'll start with this notion that the $300 billion is just going to be pallets of cash like we saw previously delivered to the Iranian regime. It's going to come in the form of loans and repayments for reconstruction efforts like buildings, bridges, things like that. So it's more in terms of loans and lines of credit for rebuilding, and probably most importantly, it's going to come from private sector. So it's not just going to be a government transferring funds either physically or digitally. It's going to be companies going in there from around the world, Asia, Africa, Europe, and America, going in there and rebuilding the damage that was done. And then, it's all coming from private sources. It's not coming from U.S. taxpayers. So I think that's an important point to make, because one, that greatly increases the likelihood that the money goes towards its intended target, as in rebuilding, those pieces of infrastructure. And, of course, Iran could say we're rebuilding this airport hangar and now we're going to use it as a training facility for our terrorist activities. I don't know, something like that. So it could be repurposed and that exists. But private sector involved from countries around the world, they're going to be closely monitoring that. And if those intentions or if those requirements are not met, the funding will instantly shut off. I mean, the private sector is going to be much more likely to oversee that in a more diligent way because they are, not going to be.
People felt that I overreacted about the team takeover that happened on June 15 at the Trader Joe's location that I was present at. It was about 8.
This could change. We've got 60 days of detailed negotiations, technical negotiations. So what I'm going to ask you may not be entirely fair, but why isn't it not stated that Iran agrees to stop funding its terrorist proxies?
Well, that's probably a separate matter. And what I've been reading is that there are other security measures in place. So I don't think it's limited to just rebuilding roads and bridges and buildings and things like that. There will be multiple components to hold them accountable, and there will be much stricter oversight than we saw in the JCPOA, which I think, had some good intentions, had some good pieces.
But doesn't that require them to be cooperative because they were supposed to be under the JCPOA cooperative, but the IAEA says they were not?
I think what I was going to say is that the JCPOA has some good intentions and some good pieces in its framework. The flaw in it was that it was just easily sidestepped. Like now, I think the intention or the requirement is going to be anywhere, anytime inspections, which was not the case.
And how are you going to effectuate that? You have great faith that this new regime, as Norm puts it, will cooperate, and that will exactly.
No, I think there's zero chance that Iran will follow through on their commitments, regardless of what they are. They are not driven by economics, concern for their people, even concern for their own lives. I think they're very happy to be martyrs for the cause of their radical religious beliefs. And, what happened over the past couple months was inevitable with the way they are ideologically and religiously driven. Somebody had to step up, whether it was, Trump or Obama or whoever's the next president, the next couple of presidents. The only way this is going to end is if the regime completely collapses. And I think really, from a strategic perspective, what Trump did, and I'll speak to some of the other things I was going to mention, was I think he's done a lot of good strategic things that have created short-term pain, but in the interest of both America and the international community, have created some trends or some movement in the direction that we've gotten rid of Venezuela. They're no longer, an adversary as they were previously under Chavez and Maduro. He's severely, restricted Cuba. He's kind of accelerated their demise. He's isolated Iran from China. China came out and basically chose the U.S. over Iran. They chose not to get involved. Yeah, they might have been selling some arms and some, other supplies behind the scenes, but I think for the most part, China and Xi Jinping values the long-term strategic relationship and trade deals with the United States more than they value Iran, even though the oil that was provided to China by Iran, was substantial. I think like 10 to 12, 14%, something like that. So Trump has chosen to take short-term pain, doing what had to be done with these countries that were adversarial and, pains in our asses in the international community for decades, and positioned us to benefit. We are the beneficiaries in terms of what we are producing as far as oil, natural gas. I mean, Europe now sees what Trump predicted with Russia invading Ukraine, with what's happening in the Middle East. Trump predicted all of this, over the years, and especially in his first term. So, I think they're more likely to come around as Trump continues to, continues in this direction. So, his goal was to fundamentally change things in the United States government. And even though Doge didn't accomplish all the things it set out to do, I think at worst it highlighted the massive amounts of spending that were going out to these bullshit causes.
At worst, it'll allow the United States to present information without the executive's ability to classify it, because Doge got rid of Adobe Professional. They cost more than they made. Their entire point was to save money, and they literally, as a department, cost more money to fund by the federal government than they did less. They didn't do their job. I don't understand why Republicans like that. It is a failure on our part. We put a 19-year-old in charge of Social Security, and then it had a breach. Right? Really, really bad ideas.
Marshall, I don't mean to go off topic,
that
but to support that example, what's happening with the screw worm down in Texas is another example. We cut $15 million, and it's going to cost us way more now to fix it.
Absolutely. And you can track the cutting back to Doge. And the problem with Doge in the first place was these people didn't have any context for who they were firing and what they were getting rid of. Not to mention the fact that they fired thousands of people that then had to be rehired, given back pay, and some sort of legal compensation because the federal government wrongly let them go. Right? They were not worth it. And I don't, I'm a Republican, but I don't understand the praising of Doge in any way, shape, or form. They were worthless. They were beyond worthless.
Well, I think the counter argument to that is that Trump is shifting the center of gravity away from the government. He's pushing more of the economy into the private sector and taking it out of the hands of the public sector. It's messy, and there are Republicans and Democrats who are fighting them because of the nature of political.
Brian, it's not just messy; it's utterly unprofessional. The way this was done by them is not a show of professionalism. I wouldn't hire these people in private life to do my. Hold on, I wouldn't hire these people in private life to do my taxes. Okay. They acted like they knew what they were doing. They cut thousands of people using this rip and tear model, which they then had to rehire. That's not doing a good, professional job. That's doing a lazy job and calling it good.
No, I disagree. I think
if your job is to cut money from the federal government, you don't then, number one, cost the federal government more than it costs to fund you. Number two, you don't end up costing the federal government more by firing people you then have to rehire because you didn't do it the right way to begin with. If it were professional, if it were in line, they would have done the professional thing, gone through the research, fired the people they could hire so they didn't have to go to lawsuits with these people privately and then have the federal government pay them out. That's not professional, and you can't argue that it is.
That's not accurate. So I think
it's absolutely accurate. They fired a bunch of people.
The reason you're incorrect.
Hold on. They fired a bunch of people. Hold on. They fired a bunch of people that had to be hired.
I understand. I heard you the third time.
Well, don't tell me it's not true, because I can look. If you want the source for them, I'll pull them up for you. They fired a bunch of people that should have fired.
I'm going to give you the counter argument, Marshall. The counter argument is that you don't have time, and you don't have the time to go through the bureaucratic red tape to go in there with a scalpel. What you do is you go in there with a.
I'm going to take political shit, and I'm going to waste the taxpayers' money, and I'm not going to bother. Hold on, and I'm not going to bother to do it right the first time. Hold on, and I'm not going to bother to do the task right the first time. If what universe is repeating a task 3 times in any way good for the U.S. government or the people that rely on
that are absolutely.
That's not my point. My point is, you don't tell me that you don't have enough time to do it right. That's wrong. You do have time to do it right. You chose not to do it right.
Okay, guys, I don't know what this has to do with today's topic. I agree with Marshall.
I'm trying to close the loops here. What I'm saying is Trump is working at a strategic level that a lot of people just don't understand clearly, because
It's
I know
Ryan,
you're
it's
another
not
one
a
who thinks-
misunderstanding.
you're
They
another
were
one who
put
thinks
in charge to
you're
save
another one
money.
who thinks
You
you're
don't
another one
save
who
money
thinks-
by costing more money
All
than
right,
you should.
I got that, Marshall, and you're right. So we have another one who believes that the American public doesn't understand what we actually see in front of us, and we thank him for explaining it to us. I cut it off because it's 6:55. We only have 5 minutes left, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people in queue. Dave, and maybe followed by David and the others. Dave.
This topic we must look from top down, not go for the final detail at a very low level, because that doesn't change the world. The whole idea is today's topic is very critical. It's not just domestic, it's about global, right? That's why we talk about, and unfortunately we went down to a little detail, but anyway, we go back to the global part. So what have Trump achieved since the beginning of the war, right? So when Trump started this war, a lot of European leaders were very unhappy they were not involved. But after recent G7 meeting now, right? So this is no longer the same. That G7 and other a total of 40 nations are come together that they're going to help in either by contributing to Navy ship to clear the mine, or somehow financially contributing. So this is a united front. This is no longer US, Israel. This is a united 40 nation after the G7. So this is what Trump claimed he wanted to achieve during his first inauguration speech, uniting, right? So, and just like the prior speaker said, he might do it very bluntly, but we are facing what he claimed in December 2025, civilization erasure. It's not just Europe, the entire Western civilization. There's no time to be Mr. Nice Guy. There's no time to be very nice, surgical, don't insult anybody, don't make people uncomfortable. It has to be top down, hammer sledge, and now we have 40 nations come together, just like the prior speaker said, China is supporting that as well. So this is the biggest achievement. The 47 years of deception by Iran Murad regime is over.
So do you believe that because of do you believe that the nuclear threat that Iran presents has now been eradicated?
Basically, you cannot trust this regime. Whatever things happen, you can't trust. Whether you sign any agreement during Obama time and whether we sign
I don't think you're answering the question.
We got just a couple minutes left. I'm just asking you
a simple question. Through this memo of understanding and what it allegedly will lead to, do you believe that Iran's nuclear weapons threat to the world has been eradicated?
No.
Okay, now, wait. Second question. Do you believe that Iran's exportation of terrorism has been eradicated?
Not yet.
No. Do you believe that the threat to the populace of Iran, because we were just told it was a regime change, has been eradicated? That people who are dissidents no longer have to fear being executed on the streets?
Okay, so
yes or no?
If you want yes, no, you are like an Islamist. You don't care about
I'm an Islamist. I love an Islamist. I love that analogy.
And Gary, can we confirm what statements has the G7 just made supporting this memo of understanding?
I don't know.
Did they completely support the U.S.?
That's news to me. I'm sorry, David Garcia. I'm sorry, Amir, who I really wanted to hear from, especially. I'm sorry, Andrew. Guys, come in early tomorrow, and we'll get you at the top. Please, David, Amir, and Andrew. Folks, we're here Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock New York time. So until 5 o'clock New York time tomorrow, for the next edition of the Critical Thinking Forum, Everybody be safe, be well, and peace out.
you weren't intended to. If we paid attention, we'd realize power comes in numbers. And numbers only come when you put in the work to do the shit that matters in the first place. And the problem I identified with the American public not giving a fuck is not just voting, it's not just being uninformed, it's being utterly unwilling to put themselves in a place where they are responsible for the freedoms they have. They're unwilling to bear the burden of responsibility. As long as they are, bad things in this country will happen.
You'd be...
The people are... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you'd be surprised, Florida, how much individual people get quoted by legislators after they come with their issues or their reason why a law needs to be enacted or a law needs to not be on the books anymore. You'd really be surprised. And if you spend time around these legislators, they do listen to their constituents. It is important to them. And you do, and I definitely start on the local level. I mean, I go to Washington now, but and there's many people that I meet with I haven't written checks to. I definitely haven't written checks to, but I go and I meet with them and I ask for their time. I mean, you get 20 minutes. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you get staff. And that's on the federal level, but on the state level, I mean, something just happened with my county commission that pissed me off. And I put a call into, and then I put a call into the guy, and then I got his number, and I sent him a text about something that happened at a hearing at the county commission. I've appeared in front of my city council on a few occasions, you know, under public, during the period of time when the public can speak. It's, you know, you get on the agenda. I mean, it sounds a little kooky, but you can do it. And they will listen to you. And you really would be surprised. But if you don't do it, you'll never know. Period. Suggesting Florida, like, again, you and I disagree on a lot of stuff, but you're actually pretty persuasive and you have a lot of opinions.
Because you know I'm correct. You know I'm right.
No, I don't think you're correct all the time, but I think you have an audience in your legislators on your state level. You know,
they care more about your checks than they do
on the local level. You'd be surprised.
Absolutely on the local level.
Not so much. I mean, it's also like, I mean, you're in a bigger state than mine. Mine's a little state, so it's easy to access people on in state elected offices because we're smaller here. But I mean, you got to try it. You know, what is driving you crazy that's state law in Florida that you really want to have a voice about? Think about it and reach out to them. I mean, if you had kids, I don't know if you have kids, and your kids were in a school and with the school district, and you go to those school board hearings. I mean, a lot of parents do that. For some people, that's the first place is at the school board.
Yeah, and to be fair, I thought it was fucked up when I heard that the Biden administration and a lot of the Democrat-leaning school districts and politicians were like deeming these parents to be like quote-unquote domestic terrorists in one extent or another. But I don't think that, I just don't think we're going about this right. This is why I like really support, number one, we've talked about it before, Abby, the more stringent campaign finance laws, number one, and then number two, changing the voting system entirely to allow for like ranked choice voting, so to speak, where number one, people would have to like be more clearly labeled when they're donating, or organizations would have to be more clearly labeled when they're donating, and it would take the dark money out of politics and also large money by like minimum by setting limits.
They are labeled. I mean, again, I told you on the federal level.
It's not true.
I have. Let me just say it. I have $5,700 I can do to a member of Congress, or like kind. Like if I have an event at my house and it costs me $5 G's to do it, but I can't have an event at my house for $10,000.
Yeah, but what about the People's Republic of North
Carolina?
She can't give.
So the people, they can't give money. I tried to tell you. You can't give to any class.
State parties.
No,
Congress or the Senate and
He
told
left.
me
He
where.
left.
Oh God.
I know. What a bitch. I'm gonna text him right now. Hold on. Let me text him. You're a bitch. I'm gonna send it right now.
Because that's not what federal law says. Federal law says.
He just said,
What? That's just lame.
I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't want to listen. Anyways, what else is going on?
I got nothing.
I'm fixing him. Come back. Stop being a little punk. He does that. He runs out of. And on this particular subject, because I came with hard facts on it every time on who can go into super PACs, how super PACs are disclosed. Every single time, he tries to say the foreign governments, and I try to tell him it's illegal and PACs can't take it if they're political, and he runs out. Marshall, you've seen him do that.
It's annoying. I'm like, that's just not what it says. Like, look at a campaign finance report. Right? This is the proof that people they can go to FBC and pick out any campaign finance report from any member of Congress or senator in the country, from any political action group, from any coalition committee, and they don't. Because they're too fucking lazy to do anything about their fucking beliefs. It infuriates me.
It's a no. But this is him on this subject. He will go running every time. What's for dinner, y'all? What's for dinner? Feeding the dog right now, so it's chow, and I'm giving him this pumpkin stuff that you're supposed to give your dogs. Someone talked me into it. Some kind of like pumpkin patch thing I put on the top of the food. That's what dinner looks like, right? Pumpkin for dogs, huh? Yeah. That's good. What are you eating? I had a little bit of Spanish food earlier. Had a little bit of an octopus, which was good. It was in this nice little, like a reduction. It was really nice. But I'm making some chicken breast, well, actually chicken thighs, bone in, skin on, salt and peppered or buttered, putting it in the oven on the broiler. You know how it is, one of those. I was in a room earlier and they were talking about how to make a steak like a steakhouse. Like, why my steaks at home never taste like Fleming's or a steakhouse. So they gave me all the instructions, like literally everything I had to do. I mean, that's the process. If you have to use a cast iron skillet, which I never knew. I always put it on the grill, which is wrong. And you have to use the butter. You have to like baste it in butter, and you have to baste the cast iron pan in butter as well. I mean, so they went through this whole thing, 1.5 minutes on each side, and then put it in the oven. I never did any of this. You know, I just stick it on the grill. So,
I take some butter at the end, depending on what kind, but not all through. Like at the end, I'll put some depending on what kind of cut it is.
They said to baste it while you're on the skillet, and they said you have to make sure that the other thing they said is use the kosher salt, and you have to make sure that there is no water anywhere.
Dry your shit.
I didn't know that either.
You gotta pat dry that motherfucker. But I do not. My steaks, maybe like I don't eat steak. I cook it usually for my man. So we get a ribeye, maybe about like an 1.25 to 1.1 inches. You know, in that area of thickness. A cute marbleization. But I literally put on a cast iron skillet, sear it. I sear it like hot sear. You gotta hear that shit. And then I lower the heat. I cover it. And then I raise the heat, I flip it, sear it. I cover it and I lower the heat. I don't have to put it in the oven. I don't have to do that extra step. Yeah, lower the heat just a bit, cover it with the lid.
I mean, I'm so lazy. I have a big grill in my backyard,
you know? So I
That's
just like,
delicious though. What?
yeah, but it's not the same. It never tastes
not
like a
the same.
steakhouse, right? So
You're right, you're
trying to replicate.
You know, there's one video that was done by, what's his name, Gordon Ramsay, that cooks a perfect steak on a grill. You should check it out. Let me find it for you.
And you're not supposed to put the sauce on till after, right? So
Right.
no
sauce at all,
marinating.
actually. I think there's no marination, there's no marination, there's no marinating, there's no sauce, there's no nothing like that. It's just salt, pepper, butter, apparently. You know what I'm saying?
They said
seasoning I put on top of it too.
you do put steak seasoning on it.
Okay.
So she said rosemary and I forget what the other spice was, and garlic, I guess, in the butter when you're basting it. What kind of, you put like stuff you buy that says steak seasoning?
Yeah, it's Mrs. Dash steak seasoning.
Yeah.
Oh, I found the one that's on a cast iron skillet with Gordon Ramsay. Let me put that in the chat. This is the one that I learned off of, and every time someone talks about how do you make a steak, people even talk about this video. Put it in the chat. Y'all check it out. It was done about, 18 years ago. It was posted 18 years ago.
Wow, it doesn't change, man.
Doesn't change. Hey, Derison.
Hey, Derison.
Everyone derises here. Let's get it started.
Is that
How did the game go yesterday?
It's fun always. Yeah, it keeps iterating, keeps getting better. I want to tell you about a small victory I had, or a small defeat, depending on how you look at it. My friend told me a while ago, and I'm taking this to my heart, that if you go more than 2 days without going to the gym, you're in a rut. So I've been trying to stay consistent, and it's been a few days, so I feel like I'm in a rut, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to force myself. I'm going to the gym. And then I get to the gym, and they have a sign on the door that says, we're installing new equipment, we'll reopen tomorrow. so I
They don't train.
You don't need a gym to work out.
They don't train.
That's true. You do calisthenics at home. Stop playing. Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. So don't do that to yourself.
I don't even want to say I've got one in my house and I never use it.
I'm just saying.
Yes, I use it.
Yeah, use the Pilates reformer. That's it.
One of my friends has one of those mirrors. You know what I'm talking about? The mirrors that like reflect on you and shit.
Oh, what's that called? That
just stupid.
the magic, like that mirror. I can't.
Yes. What is it called? I don't know what it's called.
It talks to you, right? It talks to you.
Yes. It checks your posture and everything. Like you're off to the left. Please censor yourself. Like shit like that. Like what the fuck?
I've got some crazy stuff in my gym. I have one of those shake machines. You know that.
Oh, the vibrators.
It's the power plate. It's
Get them
called.
out on the ground.
Serendipity just
Hands behind back. Legs up.
When she talks to us, she told
No compliance.
Just get you a
If they
bag,
move,
put 35
they
pounds
die.
in it, and just walk.
Use those two to get them out on the ground.
take a
Hands
couple of
behind
gallons
back.
of
Legs up.
water,
No
put it on a
compliance. If they
string,
move,
throw it
they
over your
die.
shoulder, and go for a walk.
I could be like those Southeast Asian women and just have a gallon of water on my head.
Exactly.
Do you know what the temperature is outside if I want to go walking right now? It's probably 106, 105.
Yeah, it's 72 degrees.
Yeah, I can't go walking.
62 here. No. You gotta do this in the morning, like 4 a.m.
Yeah, this is like a morning or a late evening jog, like a 7 to 9 p.m.
We
jog.
may get down to 100
Think
if
about-
I'm lucky. But
Where are you, Arizona?
now I'm in Nevada. It's hot.
Oh, Nevada.
I think about the outcome.
Hey, as I said, man, you just gotta do it really early in the morning.
And then I'm sure Ella.
I have a
That's
dog.
great advice.
I mean,
Have
that's
you
fine.
considered just waking up at 3 in the morning to go walk?
No, I haven't, but my dog does consider that when he works.
Think about the outcome. And then I'm
just
sure Ella
saying,
French
you
would
know,
Dog's trying to
proceed
lead you to
differently.
the right direction here.
Waking up early is not
Because
that
you're just
bad,
so
man.
stupid.
So I need opinion of something. So
You can't
What happened?
expect.
I had a broken
It's
sprinkler.
secure.
The guy can't fix it. And it was right near the house, the back of the house. And the guy's like, I saw termites in there. You should have somebody look at it. I was like, okay. So I had somebody come out, and I was back there with him, and he showed me. He goes, "It could be a termite, but it also could be a flying ant." I really couldn't tell, but he's like, "I mean, if you want to be safe, you get treatment, but I don't want to say." So if he said it could be an ant, you think it's probably an ant, or he would have said for sure it was termites?
Screaming.
Yeah, termites have a distinct, like, they leave behind something very distinct. So
he was like, well, this was like it had wings, and he's like, it is the season for the swarming ones. And he's like, if it didn't have wings, it would. I could definitely say, but with the wings, he's like,
second opinion. I don't know.
So termites tend to live near wood. Is your sprinkler near anything that's wood?
The house is stucco. I mean, obviously it's not the wood frame and shit, but it's stucco, so they're not.
I meant, like, where's the sprinkler at?
Oh, it's right next to a lot of.
No, I can't come back with in my anon. Here we are. Hey, I'm back, everybody.
A lantern fire.
Hey.
Dark areas and lots of wood.
Yeah, no, it was nothing like that.
So yeah, so I'd go with ants personally.
But I'm not sure. Get a second opinion though.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Don't take my opinion who's been bitten by a shit ton of ants, you know, and been in like really interesting areas.
Do you live in a termite, like an area that has termites? Because not all.
Yeah, check the termite. Like check the farmer's almanac. See, you got termites.
No, like in certain geographical areas, they're more prevalent. Yeah.
He's also treated subterraneanly in 2018, and the guy who sprinkler said that's supposed to last 10 years. He said more like 7 years. So I'm thinking, but yeah, if I could get somebody else to do a free estimate, I'll have them come to a free quote.
I hate termites. I hate termites. I hope they die.
I have a fucking house. I just need to go back to living in a.
Okay, you know what's weird? When I was doing work back east, like anytime I'd represent someone with a house purchase, like in Jersey or PA, like you always had to have termite addendums and termite, like, you know, always part of agreements, and all kinds of warranties on termite You had to have the termite inspection. You had like asbestos and termite. Here in this climate, we don't have termite issues. You know, like you don't have the termite addendums. It's just weird. So that's why you have to check if they're prevalent where you are.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't get a whole lot of rain. You know, we go. This is right. We go through the rainy season, but.
That's what I'm saying. It's like this is the season for it.
Yeah.
Check. Well, have you checked on Reddit? I hate to say this. I know it's dumb. But
I've gone to Reddit for a lot of stuff and found good information. So
yeah, go to Reddit and see if Florida's having a termite situation. See, there's like an abundance.
And I think I'm going to take. There's an app called iNaturalist.
iNaturalist, yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to dig in there and try to take some pictures and see what they say.
I do that for New York City. They have a little bit, and they show you where all the beehives, the rooftop beehives are.
In New York, beehives?
Yeah, we have rooftop beehives. They make their own honey and everything. They sell it.
There's such different bugs here.
Things I didn't know what they were. What bug is this? And people right away knew exactly what it was.
We have scorpions. A lot. That's a big issue here.
I think I do too, but I've never seen one. But they do.
They're awful.
Allegedly.
But the baby ones are the bad ones.
Oh, there's a little baby lizard inside the screen.
The lizards are good. The lizards will eat them.
I love lizards.
Bad to the
When
bone.
they get inside the screen there, they can get back out. They'll find his way back out. But I trip water down the screen and they usually drink it. So I'm see if he's thirsty.
But they get pretty big in Florida though.
Yeah, lizards get huge in Florida.
Yeah, these ones don't get that big. He's a little baby too. He's a tiny, tiny little baby. I'm gonna give him some water, see if he's thirsty.
Yeah, a little.
I love lizards.
Coke cat. I definitely don't love them. It scares the hell out of me.
Just cat. So a few days ago, you know, I have a stray cat that is my cat now. So a few days ago, my neighbor's like, the cat has a mouse in his mouth outside. And I was like, but I didn't see the message right away. By the time I got up, I don't know where he was. So, well, today he threw up. And what do I see inside the throw up? But like some gray fur. I'm like, you ate that fucking mouse. It serves you right. That's why you're throwing up.
So you're vomiting because that mouse probably ate something terrible.
Yeah.
Now you eating the mouse.
But
you know what? I think it's this nice little gift that they try to bring you, and you weren't there for it.
They're so proud. They're so proud. My dog, brought a full bunny I was like sitting on the floor of my bedroom, and he's a lab, so he's totally like chases bunnies all the time, and he finally like had victory and got a bunny, but the bunny, there was no blood. The bunny's eyes were wide open. The bunny had It was a gentle gnaw. Well, no, the bunny had a heart attack. The bunnies. Because bunnies die of heart attacks, like of shock.
Get anxiety, right?
Right, anxiety. So
I didn't believe my dog. He's only Chihuahua. Never killed anything. Nothing. This cat. He's brought mice before. It's been a while. So I thought he had stopped, but apparently he just didn't find it.
I feel that because my Chinese
You
zodiac,
support
my
abortions.
Chinese
You
zodiac
support
is a rabbit, and I also
invaders. You
die of
hate Trump. Why vote for you?
Just 2 weeks before the holidays last year, the Department
brought mice before.
of Education abruptly discontinued 2 vital federal grants sustaining.
Cat used to kill squirrels, and I'd walk out in the morning in high school and see a decapitated squirrel.
Oh no!
That squirrel probably deserved it. I actually hate squirrels.
I love squirrels. I've gotten a squirrel. I've never seen this.
Yeah,
all this bird outside today. You got a bird.
So Alan, do you have squirrels where you are? I have no squirrels where I am. We have black squirrels. Do you have squirrels?
This was back east.
In Boston, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have them now. Do you have Boston? He's from Boston. Do you have squirrels where you are now?
In California, yeah.
How did they get to California? And they got across the country, but they bypassed Nevada.
It's too hot. They're like, fuck this.
They went along with Lewis and Clark. That's what happened.
They just kept going. They had a little backpack, and they said, "Fuck it, let's go right past this."
There's a better joke in there somewhere, but we haven't found it yet.
Shut your ass up, Alan. Ain't no joke better than the ones we told.
No, I'm sorry.
Can't believe how nice you are to this lizard.
I always do this.
You're very nice.
And they'll drink, and there was one that last year that was here for like a weekend. When I dripped the water, he would go run into it. I'm like, oh yeah, you're not trying to kill me. You're giving me water. Hope just get stuck on the spider webs back here, though.
There's a squirrel.
Huh?
There's a squirrel here with a purple tail that's trying to kill me.
Oh, he's not trying to kill you.
Yes, he's trying to kill me.
Stop that.
Every fucking time I try to walk by it, I know the purple tail every fucking time. It runs past me, so the purple, like, it's always in front of like a step. It runs in front of me in front of a step, and so I'm like, I like jumble my steps, bro. It's trying to kill me.
Just checking. I don't like squirrels. He's like,
Zero.
You fucking can't stand this squirrel.
If you start saying nice things about squirrels, won't do it anymore.
It's because I live in the neighborhood, and it's these fucking gay ass squirrels.
You're a gay squirrel.
They hate me because I'm straight. They call me fish, and they fucking distort me.
Wait, Meryl. They're gay and they called you a fish?
Yes. Some of them are trans, I think. The purple one's gotta be trans.
Yeah, you know, that is the first time in 40 years that I've heard, that was a term I heard back east, that gay men refer to women as fish. I've never heard it repeated till now.
No, it's coming back, baby. I just know it's alive and well.
It's Pride Month. Barry, you be nice to the gay squirrel.
I'm trying to be, but it sure wants me dead.
There's one episode of The Simpsons where Grandpa Simpson is sitting Bart down on the couch and he says, "Bart, I have a good story to tell you." And he says, "Well, actually it isn't so good, but it is long."
What?
I bring that up for no reason.
Ooh. The parade is tomorrow. The next parade is tomorrow. That's gonna be exciting shit.
Oh, okay.
Was it down Fifth? Where are they doing it? Down Fifth? They're doing it. Yeah, it's gonna be down the Bowery up to City Hall. It's gonna be a cute little. It's like a 12 blocks.
The Bowery to City Hall?
Isn't
not crazy. That's
so weird. Why there?
Because nobody goes to FIDI anymore. No one goes to the Power anymore. No one goes there.
That's
And it's
really
gonna end.
weird.
It's gonna end at City Hall because that's where we're gonna. Well, Mayor Mamdani's gonna be giving the keys to the city to the NBA players. I thought it should have happened around MSG, but up to like at least 59th Street, whatever.
Right, or down Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they end at MSG and like have everyone gather in there or like?
Right, something.
World Cup. The World Cup, that's why.
Oh yeah, the World Cup. We're all having a World Cup here. All the Scots from Boston are visiting too because they just want to go.
Maybe people uptown just realize that the crowd gets rowdy. They don't want that around.
Maybe.
When we had the one for the Eagles in Philly, it went down Broad Street, which is like where the Mummers march, and then it went around City Hall, if you know Philly at all, and to the Art Museum, you know, where Rocky ran up the steps.
Yes.
And then they did like speeches and stuff from the steps to the Art Museum, which is like the natural parade route. So most of the city can see it. So that's crazy. It's like hidden in New York down there.
It seems like it's not even going that far, but I don't know.
Well, it's not.
Things remain to be seen.
The Bowery to City Hall is like a 15-minute walk.
Right. But it's just, I don't know what to expect. I'm going to be complete. They want it to be, what is that called? A ticket? Where they're going to throw a ticket tab. Do you know what I'm talking about? Ticket tab throwing? Like back in the
Ticket tape.
Yeah. Thank you. Ticket tape.
Ticket
throwing.
tape.
They're going to do a ticket tape parade.
Ticket
so
tape
it
parade.
can only last
It's
a
ticker
out.
tape.
Ticker tape, yes, for the accountants back in the day, right? Yeah, ticker tape. So it's going to be a ticker tape parade. So it can only last a few blocks anyways, because if not, it's going to be just terrible. So they have sanitation on board. They have all sorts of volunteers to clean up afterwards too. So it can't be that long.
When's the last time they did a ticker tape parade? That's a really wild thought.
That's a good question, actually. I did hear it's been a while. When is the last time NYC did?
Like they had it at the end of the war.
March
World War II.
2008.
2018?
No, I just.
Oh, you make that up. I mean, I'm thinking of like Kennedy in a ticker tape parade.
1973, when the Knicks won the championship. 1973 was the last ticker tape.
Wow.
So they're gonna do it again because the Knicks won again. Wow, I like that. Oh my God, that's good.
Okay, I still don't understand what
An acid attack in
ticker tape parade.
It's throwing paper. I say
Paper,
It's
So back in the day when accountants used to do like a lot of small receipts that didn't mean anything at the end of during a parade, since accountants usually in these really tall buildings, they would throw whatever paper they had out the window for celebration. That became like a thing called ticker tape parade.
That's kind of close.
I mean, I just gave you the gist of it. I'm not gonna go into this fucking long ass thing.
I'm not going to go into the long ass thing either. Ticker tape
As
is what
you
they
do.
used to have. When you had the stock market, everybody had a ticker machine, and the ticker machine would run out a tape, and it would have all of the stocks on it. That's how they got the stock reports before we had the internets. And they had a lot of paper around, and they had all those torn up ticker tapes, and they'd throw them out the window.
Which is a
That's what the ticker-
elongated way to say what I just said.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's not, Vero. You're being.
Yes, it is. I
the only
know.
difference with stockbrokers and accountants. That's the only difference between what
Do they tend to have those
Thank
parades
you.
near Wall Street?
The
Thank
historical
you.
context of why it makes sense.
Well, I gave you the gist of it. He just said the same thing I said, but a little more,
Well,
three
a
words.
little more accurate, like it was from the stock
I
market,
a little
not
more
from accountants.
detailed. I was still accurate.
Keep telling yourself that.
I mean, I'm still accurate.
She painted the picture. There's extra tape that they throw out the windows.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. They just had extra tapes,
Why
accountants.
until Joe explained it.
What do you mean it didn't make sense?
Wouldn't those parades have been down in the financial district and like Wall Street area, based on what, you know, if it came out of the stock tickers and not uptown? Just saying.
But a lot of people have
Right, but traditionally,
Accountants.
But definitely Wall Street would have more of a
parade was for the dedication of the Statue of Liberty. So where did that happen?
okay, that would have been down in the financial area.
There you go.
Well, Battery
Okay.
Park, yeah.
Why do I kind of remember one? Did they do one for like astronauts or like some something in New York, like not non-sports?
Yeah, when the first two astronauts went up and landed safely, I think they had one. Who was the first one? Not Glenn.
Buzz.
Neil Armstrong?
No, that's the moon.
Buzz Aldrin, but Buzz.
No, I'm talking about the Mercury program. Alan Shepard. So when he came back, I think he got his invitation. But then Gus Grissom, he was the second. He didn't get one. No, he wasn't the second. I forget. But by the time he came back, there were no. Derisive. Is Smithers on The Simpsons your favorite character? I asked that for no particular reason.
Smithers.
Do you remember Smithers when Lisa was helping Smithers with something on his computer, and then Lisa opened his computer, and the first image that pops up is an image of Mr. Burns dancing, and it says, "Hey Smithers, you really turned me on."
Oh yeah. Or he has the fantasy that Mr. Burns is Marilyn Monroe singing "Happy Birthday to You."
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited for it.
Guys, I'm so excited. I'm fucking ready.
I hate how they're always showing like the bad images of New York. I was at Game 4, and then when I came, it was the happiest I've ever seen every New York. This is the only team that's ever united New York. Everyone's either
They really made it seem like a riot, didn't they? They really made it seem like it was like a riot. It really wasn't.
No, it wasn't at all.
I mean, it wasn't in every part of the city, but it certainly was in some parts of the city.
No,
yeah, that's with any city that wins a championship, right?
No,
it's just.
I was in Times Square. It really wasn't. It really wasn't what y'all thought it was.
Yeah, it was.
Are all the videos that we saw fake? Is that
they're just
you think
like
they're fake videos?
I was there, bro. Like, and the next morning, the reformers were.
Is it
I don't
possible
know.
shit just like didn't happen in front of your exact field of vision?
Sure, but
shit
I mean,
happens
like
everywhere. Like when a team wins a championship.
Well, now you're saying three different things.
No, I didn't say
I'm sorry,
nothing
I can't
happened.
please you here. I'm sorry, I can't please you.
I mean, multiple things can be true at once. Yes, most of the city, people were
It
just
wasn't, but
there wasn't
what I say is
destruction.
true. It wasn't the riot that people are making out to be. There's nothing wrong with what I said.
You're a stickler, dude. You must be.
No,
why are you sticking on me right now, bro? Like everything. Everything I say.
It was reasonably peaceful.
Right, yeah, mostly peaceful.
Everything I say is
like comparatively to every other city that has won a championship, I would say on a comparative level, it was peaceful for as large of a city as New York is and diverse.
New York needs to win a hockey championship.
I've said no one ever.
Then we'll see how peaceful they are.
I didn't know we had hockey fans like that here.
Yeah, no, you do. They just and they've been waiting for a long time.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody riots like hockey fans.
Yeah, but you know, when the Islanders won and they had the parade out in Long Island, I don't think they had any riots.
Well, that's because that's Long Island. That doesn't count. I have no basis for that statement, but it felt reasonable in the moment.
I think it probably.
Death was, after Cain killed Abel,